Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. I greet you with honor and blessings and the respect that everyone deserves. I send you blessings through the Creator to all of you from the Infinite Creator. I'm David Nolan, also known as Hawkeye Two Feathers, my shaman name. And here's a little topic for consideration, if you will, and it's the word harmony. And in many ways, harmony is referred to mostly in music, which is like what most of us may think of in terms of what harmony is. But in researching what harmony is in music, it all has a tendency to refer to harmonies and frequencies and pitches and sometimes disharmonic tones when they're listened individually. But when things are put together, it creates a harmony, such as a barbershop quartet or a good choral arrangement. Um, just think in terms of that. But what harmony really boils down to, it's the frequencies that are produced. I guess would be the best way, or manifested, or however you may put it. And hello, Marie. I see you sitting over there. Good evening to you. I think it's good morning in my world. It's about 2 o'clock in the morning Eastern time here in the United States. Down here in South Georgia, it's been raining now almost for 24 hours. Um, it hasn't been raining very hard, but it's almost been nonstop, and it's rather chilly outside for this time of the year. Well, not for this time of the year, but I mean it's just rather chilly. It's about 60 degrees and raining, and that's just cold right there. But anyway, to continue on with the harmony, the thing is that one of the things that I have a tendency to take a look at, and it manifests itself in different ways. Okay, like for example, what's wrong with the world? There's disharmony. There's different frequencies, and there's chaos, and in the chaos there is a disharmony. But I've spoken on this before, in that we can find a harmony within the chaos. But now I'm going to be speaking about those of us who are, I say, awakened, or, our awareness has expanded, all of these new energies and so forth that people are now realizing seem to be actual true events that are happening, not just something that's just pie in the sky, if you will. But one of the things that, with hanging out in different chat rooms and doing these live videos, and Marie, you showing up, and other people and things, we are sharing our harmony. We are sharing whatever we have learned in our lifetimes, and we share them. And that harmony is what I do believe is helping to heal this planet. And one of the things that was shown to me many years ago in my shamanic journey was that one of the things that, to be a true medicine man or a true medicine woman or a shaman or whatever, that one of the things that you go through hardships to test yourself, but it's so that you can find the harmony within yourself, that you can find the extremes of heat and the extremes of cold and find the harmony between the two of them. And it sounds like a very, pie in the sky kind of realization, but for a shaman or a medicine person to seek these things, sometimes you have to know what the extremes are in order to find the balance. Now, there are many of us on, I would say, the same journey. We're all on a spiritual journey, but many of us are at different stages in that journey. Some of us just have found that we have talents that we didn't realize we had before. And it may be that some folks got, like, we all think of things in times of a timeline. Well, just imagine a timeline here, and that somebody gets plunked down here. It's only matters to those of us around us, to where we have to look and say, well, where are we in this lifetime of spiritual journey? Excuse me. How can I understand if I'm making any kind of progress? Am I stuck in the mud? Am I stuck on the road of the spiritual journey? Am I still expanding my consciousness? And I have spoken about this before, and I've said that, it seems like there are some people who are just stuck on the road. And then I realized, I meditate on some of these things and say, okay, now why, Dave? Okay, Hawkeye, how come you're getting this kind of message? And I get it because I'm hanging out and I'm checking and I'm watching and looking to see, if there's anything new that I'm going to be able to learn or pick up from someone. How can I help? I'm always listening to other people to see if maybe they have something new to contribute to the collective, and and then I realize sometimes that some of these people just seem to be standing still. Now, I mean this with the utmost of respect, because sometimes it takes folks, they reach a certain point and they have to linger there for whatever their journey is. They have to linger there. And maybe there's a lot of information at a particular level that their particular soul journey requires. And that they got to hang out and learn about, I don't know, maybe it's rune reading or something, or they do exploration into ESP, or they're doing tarot, or they're doing some kind of, empathy type readings for people and so forth. And it's like, but everybody's got a place on the spiritual timeline. Everybody has their own music, if you will. And if they are in the correct harmony, regardless of where they are on that spiritual journey, it's the harmony that I'm understanding is what's important. Regardless of whether or not my shamanic journey in my own self has placed me somewhere different on the timeline than someone else, doesn't mean that they're not worth it, or I know more than they do, or it's not about what you know per se, but it is about what your harmony is, and whether or not wherever you are on our timeline, you and me and the next guy or the next person, lady, gentleman, and that with that we have a tendency to want to, because from the first day we were in school, you have to get a percentile. It's an A or a B or a C or a D, or you failed or whatever. You get it. So from the first day we're in school, we are programmed our entire life that we must somehow be able to grade ourselves. How are we doing? How is it? How are we in relationship to the next guy? And one of the interesting things that I see, feel, kind of smell in the universe, if you will, is that we're pitted against each other. So rather than the person who gets a C, who may just see differently, I was a C student for a long time, and I understood things in a different way. And I've always looked at the world differently. And so it's like, but did that really make me stupid or just different? And the thing is, though, that when it came time for me, who was an average student, or someone who was an A student, when we got together and we did theater, or we were all on the debate team, or we were all doing something together, we got together regardless of our grades, and we became harmonious in what we did. And the group that I was involved with in high school, and I just use this as an example, but it's that, we took many, first place awards for some of the humorous interpretation that we did, some of the debate things that we did, but we worked as a team. We were harmonious within the team that we worked with, even though each one of us was an individual. A students, B students, C students, D students, it didn't matter. It had to do with the harmony and what the knowledge and what we used, and that the fact that we were willing to work together. Now, one of the things that I've noticed is that, there's a lot of infighting in I'll just say the community, well, I visited the Akashic record and this is what I saw. And let's not go there. Why can't we say, I learned some things. Let me pass on along what I found, and hopes that this will, help someone along the way, versus, well, I've got this information and this is it. And this is the only answer. And that in itself is disharmonious, because you're limiting your own self, your own spirit, your own frequency, if you will. And so some people have learned a particular thing and they've had aha moments and they are on the right track. But the thing is that they somehow have become embroiled in their own quest, in their own journey, in their own information. And therefore it seems like it's because it feels right to them, then it should be right for everyone else. And I know I suffer from this, because the way that my training as a shaman gives me a different point of view of things. And with the utmost respect, I will say this again, because I try to say this in all of the videos I do about this, is that everyone should be respected for what they have learned and what they are learning, for the awareness that they are doing. But my job is that, because I have had such extra training, is to say there's more than that. Keep going, y'all. You all are on the right track. Keep going. Now, it's hard for me to even say something like that, because then that refers to that maybe I know more than some folks. Well, in the grand scheme of things, I do understand things at a different level. Doesn't mean these people are stupid or that they're wrong. It's that I just have a deeper understanding. I've been at this a lot longer than some other people, and that just gives me more knowledge and wisdom. And I've realized that there are stages of my own life that I see other people stuck in. And I think to myself, when I send prayers out for these people, that, at one time I was stuck on the road too. I realized that, wow, I've got this awareness and I can see these things and I understand things. But at the same point, um, I thought, wow, I've reached it, and then when I was speaking in one of my other videos about the layers of shamanism, and it's like, that's just it. You get to a certain layer, like in a cake, and you think there isn't another layer, and lo and behold, you get to a particular layer and you find out that there are things now that you didn't understand before, because you never reached a certain point. And once you reach a certain point, you realize, oh my God, there's even more awareness out there. And then you reach that point and then you go, oh my God, there's more awareness out there. So it's like, so my quest in this is to explain to folks that what you've got now is really cool, but just wait, there's even more. So always keep in mind that the things that you've achieved up to this point is just the tip of the iceberg. There's much more to learn. Now, as each person has a particular, I'm going to use the word gift, because at the moment I don't have a real another way of being able to put it. But whether it be empathy or whatever it is that you have, seeing in the future, or astral projection, whatever that talent may be that you have, um, there is a frequency with it, and that frequency, it is a vibration that is in your soul. You were born with it. You had it before you were born. You've had it in previous lives. And this is your own harmony. Now, into this chaos of this 3D reality where we live in now, there is so much chaos. It's hard for those of us with different frequencies that may be very well balanced. Now, I'm not saying mine is, but to the point that that is my chore, I guess you would say, in that I'm always trying to achieve a harmony of things. You know, I have to speak on difficult subjects sometimes, but I always try to give another value to it. It's like it's not wrong, but just understand that there's a difference. There's more. There's more to this than some of the silly science that we're being thrown at through society. And I call this new age stuff, because it is. And rather than it being ancient, it's a newer age kind of things where people are doing card readings and things. And so that's all really good, but it's an old tradition with a new twist. And so, but with this new twist, though, there are a lot of steps have been left out. So I just like to say to people, there's more to what you've seen already. There are more depths to it, and so keep going. You're on the right track. Now, with whatever you do know yourself, whatever your own personal harmony is, and what each person is seeking themselves is a good thing. But now, one of the things that I can't say that people aren't working towards this. They're working towards it in a, I think in a, I say haphazard because we don't really have a rule book. And I want to put my 2 cents worth into the hat in that what we need to do with each of us who have a different talent to find a harmony between us. And that's the group of the 144,000. There are many light workers out there. There are lots of watchmen, a lot of people being attuned to things, a lot of people on the sidelines that won't start a YouTube video or discuss it in public, but they'll discuss it in chat rooms and they'll share it with their friends or do a personal hangout with someone and have just a conversation, which is all absolutely beautiful. But what we need to understand, because there is some infighting in some of these groups, well, within the UFO group, within this group, within the health group. And, I was going to try to do a video about acid versus alkaline foods. And I went to 6 different websites and plus a paper copy that I printed several years ago, and none of them are correct. So I'm trying to get good information for myself and then pass it along to other people, and come to find out, out of 7 different websites, none of them agree about which foods are more acidic than another one. And it's like, so how can any of us make a positive educated guess as to which foods are actually going to help us to be alkaline, or to stay out of the acidic area, right? And so, in this same vein, I wish to say that in this new realm of the, and I'm not cursing the when I say new age, but it's new age versus old shamanic traditions. Just understand it, old versus new. So I'm not trying to poke any fingers in anybody's eyes about, well, Hawkeye said he was speaking down about new agers. Nah, there are some new agers that are just like, they're pitiful, but then there are a lot of folks who are trying to find their way in this new age using ancient wisdom, ancient teachings. And that one of the things that's very easy to happen is for disharmony to happen between all of those seekers, and everybody's looking pretty much for the same thing. And now I've got my own personal views, as should everyone else. So what I'm looking for personally is different from everyone else, but we're all seeking creator. We're all seeking the source. We're all seeking a balance. We're all seeking a higher realm of thinking, of reality, of interaction. What we are seeking is harmony between us. We're seeking our own personal harmony. That's great. But at the same time, sometimes our own personal harmonies don't fit into the bigger picture. And I hadn't wasn't scheduling any kind of YouTube video or anything. I had no topics for discussion that were like, and then I got hit, about an hour ago, and here I am doing a video about harmony. But I realized in many things that I observe and watch and things is that we're all trying to find harmony within our own selves, within our own lives, within the people that we know, and that sometimes finding that harmony is very difficult. Now, as a shaman, and as new agers also, and I mean that with respect now, not I see 2 different types of New Agers. I see some of these folks are trying to promote all this. Oh, burn this candle, and that to me is just like hogwash. But then there are those people within our communities. A lot of folks are just in the chat rooms who are seeking something, and it's those New Agers that I'm speaking about, not the ones who are trying to prophesize. Oh, I took DMT once, and now I have seen God, and oh, please stop. But now there are those seekers who have been seriously into going into these things. And when you seek certain things, you realize you don't have any business spouting a word. It's very difficult for me to get and do these videos because it's against my grain. And the grain is that sometimes when you learn some of these spiritual things, it's not something that you get on YouTube and do a video about. It's sort of personal, and you speak quietly amongst friends. Well, I can't sit quietly amongst friends physically, so I do YouTube videos, and I sit quietly with you folks over this medium right here. And also, when speaking with a friend yesterday, I made the mention, and she brought it up with a couple of other people, that what we speak, when we speak in the positive, well, even the negative, but I want to stay with the positive. As I speak these words, it's going out into the quantum universe that you hear me talk about. It's being loaded up into the quantum computer so that anybody else can download this information simply because I'm speaking it. And with my speech, sort of like a little magic kind of ceremony, if you will, as I'm speaking these words, I'm hoping and wishing and praying that they will go into the universe, and that anyone else who needs to access any of this information can receive it through the source. They don't have to watch my video, they'll just pick it up. Or that maybe this understanding, and somehow my job as a communicator, that I can speak about things I want to say in an uncomplicated way, so that folks will understand it. In I talk about this or that, or waves, or, I use a light bulb for a prop. Okay. But to the point, though, that I try to use simple things to help explain some complicated issues. Now, with this harmony thing, just think of a big a big choral group where there might be 5 or 6 different, there's bass, and then there's the uh, alto, there's soprano 1, soprano 2, alto 1, alto 2. I mean, there's so many parts. And I think to myself, because when I was in a choir, we would sing the Hallelujah chorus. And oh my God, you talk about some complicated singing. But the thing is that when you sing an alto part, it sounds like crap in its own. But when it's sung together with all the other parts, with all the other people singing, that it creates the Hallelujah chorus. And that in itself is a beautiful, harmonious piece of music. So, but when you listen to the different tones and the notes, some people are singing in a flat or a sharp, and other people are singing. It's pandemonium. It's chaos. But when it's put together, it turns into beautiful music. And I see that each one of us now in this realm, at this time, in this 3D reality, wherever we are on our timeline now, whether it's linear or circular, or however you wish to portray it, where we are at this particular point in time, we are trying to harmonize each of our own individual souls. And that's a good thing. But at the same time, as a collective, we need to be able to learn how to use our own frequencies and our own harmonies to create a planetary harmony. It has no bearing upon how long you've joined the choir, where you are in the choir. It's that the frequencies are correct, that your frequency, regardless of where you may be placed on the stream, if you just started in this and your awareness is just beginning to open, and there's so many things that you need to learn, because you're aware and you wish to seek it, then therefore you are being harmonious. It's when you reach a certain point that when you start saying, well, I think that's all there is, and there's only 12 dimensions, and, and things that, and when you start putting constraints on certain things, it's like, then you start wandering in the disharmony because you have lost your openness and your awareness to things that could be even more than you already realize. And so, for every level, for every layer that you achieve in your spirituality, your harmony will increase. It just works out that way. Talk to anybody in the community who started out at it or been in it for a while. The more you practice it, the more you stay in your own harmony, in your own frequency, in your own life source. When you focus on the core values of love and honesty and compassion, honor, respect, loyalty, then that harmony exists all the time. It's a vibration. It is musical. So we as a species, we as humans on this planet, when we are in chaos, think about what harmony is being sent or disharmony is being sent into the universe. Think about what that choral sound must sound like. It must sound like the worst bunch of junk in the world because it is so chaotic. So each of us, though, as we realize our own frequencies, as we hone our own skills, as our own awareness, because my awareness is different from everybody else's, but at the same time, I respect everybody else's position. My simple point that I reiterate is that for some of you, there's much more. Please don't limit yourself. There's more to it. If you may learn how to play the ukulele, but because you picked a stringed instrument, you can learn how to play the guitar. And when you learn how to play the guitar, you might be able to learn how to play a banjo. So you can expand your, maybe it's that you play a lead guitar, or maybe that you play the bass, or maybe you pick up a fiddle, or because you like stringed instruments. Where for me, I was never into like brass horns or anything like that. I really do like the oboe, and had wished that I had been able to learn how to at least attempt to play it, but because I just think it's such a neat instrument. But clarinet, the different types of saxophones, I mean, but the thing is, but people pick particular instruments. I myself have picked uh, stringed instruments and a harmonica for whatever reason. But with that said, though, I find harmony when I make music with those instruments. When I try to play the piano, it just sounds like crap. And so it's like, okay, so I'm not much of a piano player, but I know many piano players who can't play a stringed instrument. But does that mean that because they can only play a piano or a harpsichord or a keyboard, that they're not musically inclined? Oh, for heaven's sakes, no. So if for a person who can only play a stringed instrument, are they musically, bereft? Are they, no, that's not true. So to the point, though, a violinist, can play a concerto, and whereas a piano isn't necessary. But at the same time, in a big orchestral piece, these different types of instruments become part of the orchestra. It becomes part of the harmony of the whole. So rather than one or two people playing a particular piece, whether it be the piano or a stringed instrument or a horn, the harmonies at when everyone is working together, even though they each have their own individual music, what comes out of it is a beautiful harmony and a beautiful piece of music. So I say to all of you who are light workers, who are star seeds, it doesn't matter what you wish to call yourself. If you are seeking a higher spiritual realm, if you are absolutely you want to find out more, whether it's by reading the Bible, whether it's reading about Buddha, whether it's reading about the Gnostics, it doesn't matter. If you're trying to be more spiritual aware in any way, shape, or form, especially if it's for the good. Now, there are folks who are trying to study dark energy and magic and things that we ain't talking about them folk. Okay. We're talking about those of us who wish to stay in the light, and those of us who know we are in the light. Now, we may not understand it. That's why some folks are floundering around and trying to find their feet. That's okay. Here's the deal, though: always keep your mind and your awareness open, because there is so much more than you realize at this moment. I'm still getting downloads of new things and how to look at things and how to describe things. And like this word harmony that I'm doing this video in the middle of the night. Hi, Marie. I still see. But anyway, but to the point though, we each have our own harmonies, but it's how we mix our harmonies in with the rest of this planet that is changing the song of Mother Earth. Native Americans, all native tribes, will use drums and different types of things because it's the heartbeat of Mother Earth. People think that Native Americans are drumming because it's some kind of a savage thing. Well, in all of my teachings, learning, and so forth, if you understand what the drummers did before they ever picked up one of the paddles to drum with, that most of the drummers would fast the day before a powwow, in because the drum is sacred to them. Because when they drum, they wish to be as pure of heart, so that their energy, their frequency, their harmony, and that the drummers will be in harmony with each other spiritually and musically, so that when the drum is being drummed, that everyone stays in time, and everybody knows when the change up comes, and everybody knows how many stanzas there are in the drumming, and that they will put offerings of tobacco and sage and sweet grass and certain crystals or rocks or whatever underneath the drums, and that they do prayers and smudgings over their drums before they drum. And it's like, how many people in an orchestra do you see that will fast a day before they use their instrument? So there are things that people simply don't understand, but it has to do with harmony, and it has to do with frequency. And in the case of Native American drummers, there has to be that they like to have at least three drummers, but sometimes there's four or five. I have been included in some of the drumming, and I'm here to tell you there is a spirituality about drumming that just, and I'm talking about, with these guys are seriously, you know, they'll ask me, but I was allowed to drum only after they knew who I was, only after they knew that I would smudge myself, that I would do, uh, I might not eat that afternoon so that I could drum that evening. I might not have uh, fasted for an entire day, but they know my personage, and that out of respect for what they do in the drum, I would, do without lunch or something, so that I would at least be clear of spirit and body and so forth for a few hours before they would allow me to sit in with a drum for, one or two songs. And so, I still do. I consider it a great honor with all those that I have sat and drummed with. But with that said, see, I'm using that as an example because these folks are very much in tune with what they consider their own personal frequency, and they think about it ahead of time with who the other drummers are going to be, and they all achieve a certain common frequency among themselves. Now, I say that in that with folks with an orchestra, and if they're going to perform a particular piece, these folks may not smudge their instruments, but they do take care of their instruments. You never see anybody in any kind of orchestra with a beat up, anything. They take care of their instruments. And in that respect, they are doing a ritual of sorts in their own way. And when they come together, they tune and they do their thing, and they work with other members in an orchestra to create beautiful music together. with all the different instruments, with all the different notes, it comes out as beautiful music. And thus, many other tribes and religions and cultures, and there is harmony in a lot of what these folks do. People who gather out in the street and they all pick a particular tune or whatever. Maybe they're singing, I'm thinking of in Europe and some of the countries where some of them they all know old Polish songs or Romanian songs or wherever they may be, and they all sing together. But some people are soprano and some people are alto and some people are in bass. But they all find the note and they all sing. And when you hear these thousands of people sing, it's harmonious in itself, and there's this group action. So we of us all across this planet who are being aware and are becoming more spiritual, remember that keeping your frequency clear is very important to the harmony of the planet, your own personal harmony with your soul, with your own heart, your heart soul and your soul's heart, and they're two different things, by the way. Your chakra, your however you want to look at it, your connection with spirit, your connection with creator or your God or whatever it is, that helps create the harmony that you have. So when you use that one law, do no harm to anything, and you keep that harmony within your heart and your soul, and you focus on that harmony. I don't wish to harm anything, I really don't. But sometimes I do inadvertently, and I say I'm sorry about that. I walked outside and killed a couple of beetles inadvertently. They weren't harming anything, but to the point though, I wish in my world to stay as harmonious as possible. As a hermit, as a shaman, my purpose is to be in natural harmony, in harmony with nature, in harmony with the universe. And each person, I do believe, regardless of where in their spiritual journey, is seeking harmony. They're seeking their own spiritual harmony. They're seeking a universal harmony. And somehow in their souls, in their spirit, on their insides, they know something bigger is out there. But because of society and religions, we've all been taught different things. But the basis to most of these societal things is a spiritualism. Now, a lot of people have to go to church and go to God and have a preacher and all that. And, you know my stance on that. Why waste your time with folks in between? Go straight to the source. It's always there. And so with that said, when we understand that, that increases our harmony. When you realize, well, it's nice to go to church and I feel in company with people who wish to be spiritual, and there is a lot to be said in that. However, if you realize that the church is that you choose to go, and because there are other people there, that's one thing. But if you're going because you have been taught that unless you go to church, you can't be spiritual, and in that I say that's false. Go to church if you feel inclined and if it helps you spiritually. But if you're going because you feel guilty, then you're going for the wrong reason. That's what I mean. But in your harmony, in your spirit, regardless of the religion, most people who go to a church are trying to find a spiritual path. And that is harmony with the universe, harmony with the Christ, harmony with the Buddha, harmony with you Confucius, harmony with whoever you wish to pick, harmony with the universe. We want all of our individual songs to be heard. And from a planet wide, when we think of other people, and that's where in some of the things that I discuss about awareness, are we all aware of the other people? I mean, of the millions of other people who are struggling, trying to understand this harmony. They feel it, but they don't know how to get there. They can smell it, taste it. There's something different. They wish to pursue it. They wish to, they have goodness in their heart. They hate it when something wrong goes wrong, or they have to holler at their kids, or I mean, you pick a spot, but that basically they are good human beings, and that in this new era that we are in right now, they're being awakened, being the awareness is slapping them upside the head left and right, and that but they know in their heart of hearts what they're seeking is harmony with the universe. So you and me and you and the other guy and the other gal and the other people and the other folks around help with that. Maintain your own harmony, because that's really important. Make sure that you protect your harmony, so that other people, when they, however they may attack you with verbally or this or that, they're trying to disrupt your harmony. Well, somebody hollered at you, called you a name, you got whatever it might be, and I'm not making light of it, but in the grand scheme of things, anything that distracts you from your own personal harmony is just that. It's a distraction. If it doesn't merge with your harmony, if somebody's their harmony and between the two of you and it's just squawky, squeaky noise, then need to evaluate whether or not you should be around the person, or how you could make your harmony more better with them. Or anyway, there's a lot of other things, but that's not my point about this particular video. This video is just basically each one of us has of their own frequency. Respect the other person, regardless of where you may think they are in whatever, because we all are unique, and that's a wonderful thing. But understand that, you need a tuba in an orchestra. Is a tuba heard all the time? No. Is a timpani drum necessary in an orchestra? Yes. Is it necessary in every single piece of music? No. What about the triangle or the cymbals? They're all part of the orchestra. They're not necessary all the time, but in certain pieces of music, without those without those instruments, the rest of the orchestral piece wouldn't sound correct. The harmony would be off. There would be something missing. So each one of us, whether we play the triangle or we play a tuba, whether we play a violin or a bass fiddle, it doesn't matter, because we all have our own harmony in our music. What we should be looking for at this particular point in time is how we each use our harmony to make good music for the planet. How can people in the rest of the universe hear the change in the vibration of Mother Earth? Now, I think personally, that's one of the things that's brought all the extra help to this planet, because people started waking up. People started being aware. People started to harmonize with one another and to say there is something different here. It's not about religion, but it is definitely about spirit. It's definitely about our soul's energy, our kundalini. No sense in my repeating myself about that, but you get it. So with that, regardless of the tune we play, let's try to be understanding of other people's individuality. So they may play the cymbals or the triangle or a timpani drum, and maybe they're not necessary in every single piece of music, but they're necessary in the grand scheme of all music, of the harmony of the planet. And the more we harmonize, despite our differences, because a bass fiddle is extremely different from a violin. They're both stringed instruments. They're both basically played in a similar fashion. They're both tuned relatively the same, except higher, lower. But a bass fiddle is not a violin. That's just all there is to it. And so, but both of them are necessary. So maybe you got a friend of yours that, their frequency is a soprano. And maybe, like for me, I'm alto 2 or of the high bass or something, although I have been known in other times to be able to sing in a higher tone, but not now, not anymore. tenor, anyone? But um, to the point, though, we need to continue to respect, regardless of the instrument we play, meaning ourselves, our own energies, regardless of the instrument we play in this life, remember that there are other people out there and that the instrument they play, and I'm using that as a metaphor, but each one of us is an instrument. Each one of us has a vibration. Each one of us has a harmony. Each one of us has a tone. And in that, I mean, we are an instrument. Some may say we're an instrument of the creator. Okay, if you wish to go there. But to the point, though, the more we harmonize each other, it doesn't mean we change our tune. It doesn't mean that we necessarily reconfigure who we are, but it might be that in our own frequency, so that we as a group, we can retune our frequency slightly, not to take away from our own frequency, but maybe bring it into a higher level of thinking along with another person or other people's, so that maybe we were just slightly out of tune. We were just a little on the flat side, and that we just needed to just bump that little key on that guitar or whatever it is, and it just needed to be tuned just a little differently. Not that you, I mean, I've been, played guitar with a lot of people. And one of the things before there was any kind of electronic tuning, sometimes it'd take you 10 minutes for everybody to get tuned and sometimes it would be at a slightly higher or slightly lower pitch than what normal, top or lower E is on a guitar, for example. And so it's like, but now that everybody's got a digital tuner, it's like everybody's right on it all the time. But the thing is, if one guitar is slightly off of three or four, and you're trying to play, there's just and everybody's playing the same chords, but sometimes it's just one string. So that's my point in this. It's not that you're necessarily that you're wrong in your song or that you're playing the wrong chords, but maybe when you go to play with other people or in this realm of higher reality and of sharing our energies, it might be that we just need to tweak our energy slightly so that we will become more in harmony with other people. As in Quartz Quantum, hello there. Good morning. Good morning. Clap, clap to you too. And so, Quartz, I woke up in the middle of the night to do this again. But anyway, it seems to be very important because the harmony of us as individuals is important, that we keep our individual harmony. But sometimes I'm as a guitar player, sometimes you got to get with three or four other people to find out that maybe one of your strings, you just weren't tuning it right. And that's what made your guitar feel kind of wonky when you were playing by yourself. But when three or four people get together playing a song and everybody's guitars are tuned the same and we're all playing the same chords, we are all each individual players. But now we have tuned ourselves individually, but now as a collective, our individual tuning now sounds beautiful as a collective, as a band or an orchestra. I think you get where I'm going with this. So without trying to use too many other metaphors or anything like that, I realize sometimes in how I'm trying to describe things to folks from a shaman's point of view, one of the first things out of your mouth when you're being taught is Hawkeye. Remember, it's all about harmony. Hawkeye, remember, it's harmony between nature with the ground and nature with the clouds and the rain or the snow or the elements, and it's the harmony between people. It's the harmony between tribes. It's the harmony between cultures. It's the harmony between the people on this planet and source. It's the harmony of the earth with the rest of the universe. So when we focus on the harmony, not necessarily changing our own, but just fine tuning it, like I've suggested with the guitars or with an orchestra, everybody gets tuned. That's all. And then you play. but everybody plays their own instrument. Everybody plays the whatever there's on their music sheet. You know, if a clarinet's not playing the same part as somebody on the piccolo or the flute, and somebody who's playing the drums ain't playing the same thing as the guy on the piano, but they all make beautiful music as a whole. And we as a planet, and one of the things I continue to strive for is that we all need to tune our harmonies. We've all got a good one. We're all seeking the same thing. We're all seeking spiritualism in whatever form, fashion, or whatever that we're in the middle of. And that we should stop criticizing the other guy. Give critiques because critiques are necessary. You might have to say to somebody, hey, your guitar is slightly out of tune. That A string's out. And they go, oh, well, no, it's not. It's true. No, 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 no. We need to just say, okay, maybe my string is out of tune a little bit. Oh, holy crap, it was down just a fraction. And then all of a sudden, everybody's guitars just sound like one. It's an amazing thing. If you've never played music in a group or something, well, then try it. Or singing in a group or something like that. There's so much to be said for that. So using music and orchestras and that, guess what? All of that is harmony. So each of us is an instrument of creator. We're our own instruments. We can play our own tunes. And right now, a lot of people are playing their own tunes. And to themselves, it's tuned. But to the rest of the planet, maybe, it's not quite there. Somebody's A strings out. Or somebody's, and it's not, somebody, I mean, I've learned some songs and it was in the key of G, and some songs, other folks learned in the key of A. It's the same song, but they just learned it with a different chord progression. So but who's right? Neither. Both are right. It's just a different style of playing. But what we need to agree on is, okay, we're going to play this song. All right, we're going to play this in G. Everybody okay? All right. Somebody says, I'm sorry, I don't know how to play it in G, but I'll follow along. I've done that a bunch of times when I was learning how to play. And other people have too. But the other side of the coin, somebody says, well, look, 4 of us know how to play it in A, and the other 2 guys, they've played it before, so it's more familiar. Let's play it in A. And somebody says, yeah, I can sing that better in A versus G. Whatever the thing is. But as a collective, as a band or a group or whatever, you come upon, okay, we're going to play this song in G versus A or C or whatever. So, but with that said, though, also then the singing is different when the tone is higher or lower, or this is that. It's the same song. Same song. We are all singing the same song in a lot of ways, but some of us are playing it with it starting in A, and some of us are starting in G. Okay. And that what I think as a planet wide, we all need to just, like, I don't know, send a cosmic message out and say, okay, this song's in G. And everybody go, okay, and that is not a really big deal. It's just that we're going to play this particular song in G. Now, I use that for an example. But the thing is that we all may be playing the same song, but as many chords as there are on a guitar and variations of playing and tuning, we could all be playing the exact same song, but with different chord progressions. So my suggestion is that if it seems like there's a disharmony, maybe it's just that you or me, I'm playing the song in G and you're playing it in the song of A. It doesn't mean that either one of us are right or wrong. It just means that's how we're playing it. It's our style. It's the harmony within us. But can I say, oh, well, I know how to play it in A. I didn't know you knew. So I can play the same song with you, but now I'm going to go, oh, I can play it in A. Would you like to learn that same song and how I learned to play it in G? So now, instead of there being a conflict, we both know how to play the song with different chord progressions. Same song, different chord progressions. But when we each learn that, oh, which one, you're in A, okay, boom, the song is beautiful. When somebody's trying to play it in A and the other guy's trying to play it in G, don't work. So with that, using the music, and I've looked up harmony and did a little bit of study before I started this, It all has to be, it's all based around music. And so, but we all know whether or not we're in harmony with ourselves or with the universe. So consider this. Maybe you are playing the right song, but maybe because the tune of the earth is changing and other people are waking up, you may know the song in A, and that's how you've played it. While everybody else, now that they're new to this, everybody else has learned to play the same song, but they're playing it in G. So, as a collective group of light workers, of empaths, of all of us folks on this spiritual journey, before you go, um, I want to be kind with, before you go putting anything bad about, well, that person's energy's wrong or something, maybe they're just playing the song in a different key. Maybe maybe they're playing the song 2 frets up on a guitar. Maybe somebody learned it in A. So before we condemn, and I want to use that word lightly, by the way, in that was, oh, well, that person, that just seems out of balance with me. Okay, but are they still trying to reach the same goal? So rather than go, wow, I don't know if that person's there, maybe it's considered that they're just simply in another, they're learning the song from the universe, but with simply a different chord progression. I'm repeating myself. They're telling me. But I hope that this makes sense. And, so it is important that we all understand our own frequencies and our own music, if you will. But if we wish to survive and be part of the collective, it's not that we need to unlearn anything. It's just we need to be aware that maybe we're slightly out of tune, or that everybody else is playing the darn song in G and you learned it in A. That's all there is to some of this, in my humble opinion. I see some of the chaos and the confusion. I pray upon it and ask for angel guidance and spirit messages. Here you go. We all have our own song. We all have our own soul and energy, and all of that is beautiful to the universe. But when we are working with a chaos that we are now, it is more important than ever than those of us who are aware on whatever level we are, whether you're a beginner and are just starting to plunk out a tune on a guitar, or whether you've been playing for 40 years and you can play any, whatever. It doesn't matter. But if you are an accomplished guitarist, be kind to the novice, because their intent is they want to learn how to play. So I've been around some very arrogant guitar players. There's some very arrogant spiritual folk out there right now. And my point is that, well, they think that because they play a particular way, theirs is the only way to learn. And I'm here to say, I'm the grown up in the room and say, sorry, there are a lot of different ways to play it. However, what we as a collective should do is just simply agree that we're going to play this song in G. That's all. So that the energy and the music coming from this planet is more enjoyable, is the rest of the galaxy will go, oh, holy crap. We want to go there just to listen to the frickin' music that these folks are playing on a spiritual level. We're going to send out harmonics, and the entire planet has been changing with its frequency. I noticed that the Shaman resonance was back up, but not as bad. It's a little calm right now, but it definitely has been on the uptick, but which is changing everybody's frequency. So maybe because the frequencies around us are changing, we may need to retune our individual instruments. It may have, knocked your guitar and knocked a couple of strings out of tune. So when you play an A chord, it sounds like crap, and so it's disharmonious to yourself, to the instrument, and anybody tries to listen to a song because the guitar's out of tune. But to the point, though, we can fix it when we critique ourselves and go, that A string just don't sound like right. Let me see if it's in tune. Oh, holy crap. So the critique I give to each of folks and what we should give to each other is very simply, and I'm using a guitar, but your A string's out of tune. Maybe we, can I help you tune it? I got a tuner. And so on a spiritual level, maybe there's something that you can say to a person, go, that seems to be slightly out of kilter. Let's see if we can work on that. I don't know how to basically to describe it because everyone has so many different talents. Mine is to try to have communication about some of these things in a logical point of view to help folks try to realize their overall potential and at the same time be aware that we are all a part of this orchestra on earth and that the universe is listening to us. And the more of us who become in tune with our own frequencies are harmonies. Oh my gosh, all this stuff ties together. So consider this, and I'll wrap this up. Quantum, it's good to see you always. I'll read your remarks in a minute, but just consider this. Consider yourself in a band. The entire planet is an orchestra or a band or however you want to look at it. We've all got a kazoo, maybe, I don't know, but that every single one of us, we keep our individuality. It's important. But with our individuality, we realize maybe our instrument may be slightly out of tune. And in order to be harmonious with the rest of the orchestra, or if we're singing out of key or whatever, someone will point out you're singing a sharp or that's supposed to be a flat. It's not that you beat somebody up. You point out that that's a sour note. And here's how we can fix it. Let's tune it, however you want to look at this. But if we view the planet and all of us light workers on it, all of us searching for this same spiritual thing, we're all a part of this same band. But you play the piccolo, I play the guitar, they play the triangle, they play the timpani drums, whatever it is. But together, when we find and agree to we're going to play this song in this key, the whole planet is going to just vibrate in such a beautiful way. And I seriously and honestly believe that's going to be one of the hardest achievements of light workers, is that maintain your individuality, maintain your own soul harmony, but refining the tuning so that everybody else, when we play together, it's going to sound more harmonious to the universe. It doesn't mean that we're wrong. It just means that maybe we need to make sure that we have the fine tune for the entire planet, not just our bedroom. I don't know what else to say after that. Just seems like I'm thinking of, you're playing your guitar in your bedroom and it sounds okay to you, but when you go out and try to play in the group, you go, oh my God, I've been out of tune all this time. You're still playing the song, your music still sounds good, but not when we play together as a group in a band. We all need to tune our guitars or our instruments so that when we play the beautiful music together, it is in a better harmony. I think you understand. So I won't repeat myself anymore in that. I want to see what, Guy, you didn't say much. My sister was Marie says, my sister was a soprano singer. Yeah, I've sang in several choirs. It's really, really enthralling. Great changes are coming, right? Wow, I just felt the Schumann resonance. Yep, it's going on, Quartz. So I just wanted to bring this up. I hope, as always, that my little conversations and so forth help people to understand. And you all are wonderful. I am humbled by your remarks and your comments and the fact that you even show up. But in that, we need to spread this. It's one thing to show folks how to get down this spiritual path. But it's another thing to be on the path, but everybody be in disharmony and just sound like a gaggle of geese. It's just a bunch of noise. But when our awareness grows to the point where, wow, I'm a spiritual being. Oh, and wow, I can fine tune my energy to go along with everybody else's. It's a just fine tuning your own self, and you're okay by yourself in your own world. But if we must consider the entire planet with this, so each one of us needs to tweak our frequencies. Some folks really need to really tune up big time. But I'm not going to go there. But to the point though, understand that maybe you're just out just a tad. You're still playing the same song. So let's keep that in mind. We wish to play the same song. Our intent to play is to play a song, a good song, a harmonious song for the planet. Our intent is to reach the source energy. So we all have this common goal. So maybe it just takes a little bit of fine tuning between us so that as we all go on this same journey, we stay in harmony with ourselves, but then again with each other. So I love you all. It's 3:03 in the morning time here on the East Coast of the United States. And I end with my a general usual prayer. I pray that every single one of you, that your family, your friends, and all of your relations, past, present, and to come, will receive and accept these teachings and the healings and the knowledge from the universe. I pray each and every day for every one of you and your family and all of your relations that they will understand that this healing of the universe is always available, that source is always there for each and every one of us to understand and listen to and to pick up these informations. So with that, I say blessings and honor to every single one of you. I've got a butt cramp now after an hour and 6 minutes. So with much love and honor to you, bye Marie, bye Quartz, till next time. Send the love out as I know you do. And I'll be talking again on another subject soon, I'm sure, because the angels keep kicking my butt to have conversation with you guys. So blessings all till later. Adios.